Good morning. My name is Cheryl Anderson, and this is my husband, Bart Anderson, and we are educators and independent distributors with Young Living Essential Oils. As an avid equestrian and a lifelong lover of animals, I'm here today to share with you how I'm using Young Living Essential Oils to benefit my horses, my cats, and my dogs. I am all about finding appropriate alternatives to chemicals or treatments for myself, my family, my household, as well as my animals. And that's why I really love Young Living Essential Oils so much. But before I go any further, I do need to read this statement here. I am not a vet, a farrier, or a medical professional. I don't diagnose diseases or prescribe treatments. So while you may hear me say things that may describe a particular ailment, know that I am not diagnosing or prescribing treatment. I am not an essential oils expert. I am just an ordinary person and animal owner who cares about what I put on and in my horses, my pets, and myself. I have personally witnessed the positive and powerful effects of essential oils, heard amazing testimonials about their effectiveness, and I love educating myself on their benefits and sharing what I am learning with others. I must also state that what I share regarding recipes and products is based solely on Young Living Essential Oils. Their seed to sale statement is more than a motto. It is a commitment to 100% purity in every bottle, which exceeds FDA standards. If you go to local co-op or purchase the oils that I mentioned from another source and you don't get the results that I share, don't be upset with me about that, because it's only relevant. I can't guarantee that it's going to work with another oil. So the reason that I use Young Living is because I believe that they not only set the gold standard in the essential oil industry, they are the gold standard. So now that we've established that, back to the end of 2017 is when I joined Young Living. And very soon after that, I started thinking about spring and thinking about how to support my animals in a way that would be more not so chemical free. Hello, Jackie. I need to mention to you, Jackie, that I am recording. I'm recording this for so that I can post it later, just so you know. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So in 2018, that was sort of my first thing of trying to do something with essential oils, and it had to do with the insects, repelling insects. So that summer, I ran a horse program, and there were 12 horses. So I had a lot of test subjects that I could try my recipe on. I started with a recipe that was given to me from one of my uplines, and it didn't really seem to work that great, especially the black flies, but she's from Arkansas. So the insects down south are different than the insects up here. So I did a little more digging and looking into what kind of things are in the natural products that we would use up here, and found that some other things that would work better against our infamous black flies. So what I came up with was something that I wiped on. So I started applying it every day and pretty much covering them with it. And then I would go every other day, and then I would go every 3 days. And I basically was trying to figure out if there, you know how you buy the bottle and it says, oh, it lasts for 3 days, you know, and you're like 2 hours out on the trail and you're getting chewed alive. So I wanted something that actually would last. So I was testing this to see how long it would be effective. And I also wanted something that I could actually use for myself, because who hasn't gone, you know, with your horse spray and covered yourself with it because, you know, you're getting ready to head out of the barn and you forgot to put repellent on. So this was something that I could wipe on the horses, I could wipe on myself. And I had actually one horse who this lasted for him. It lasted him 4 days. I went 4 days between applications. And he was, and look at the shine. I mean, all the horses had amazing coats. That was kind of like a side benefit. I use a base of fractionated coconut oil, which is really, really good for their skin and their hair. So it just made them very, very shiny. What I ended up doing to simplify things, I started applying it every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So those were our days that we would apply the oils. And as I went into full-on summer program, of course, it was, time was a factor. So we started only applying it to their ears, under their jowl, like kind of down their jowl, down their chest, down their bottom line. If it was a gelding, we put it on the sides of their sheath. And then we would go right down the top line. And I found that throughout the summer, because it was already in their system, I could apply it that way and it was still effective. So the first summer, that's what we did. It worked really well. And then the second summer, we decided that it was hard because of the kids. So the problematic part of it was I had little rags everywhere. Dale, you probably remember, we would find the little wipe-on rags would be kind of like everywhere. So I thought, well, let's try diluting it and let's try spraying it on. And it worked okay. It was easier for the campers, to be able to deal with. We didn't have little rags left all over the place. We also, because of the ingredients in the essential oil, it needs to be kept in a glass jar. So that was why we weren't letting the glass jar go into the barn. So that was in a safe place in the tack room. We had a staff person who was basically giving, dousing the rags and giving them to the campers. And then the campers weren't always remembering to return the rags. So, but for my personal use, I basically decided to go ahead and just use the wipe-on because I really think it was the most effective. And like I said, after you've done it for like a month, doing kind of covering them, you can go to doing it just down the bottom line and top line, and that works just as well. So for my personal experience, this is another one of the horses that we used it on, and he is like a major like bug magnet. I mean, he would have them on him, crawling on him, biting him, getting the crumbles all over his ears. And when I used what I now call Shoe and Shine, he was free from insects. I didn't have issues with that. And with certain horses that can pick up certain diseases from insect bites, it's pretty important to try to keep them from being bitten. So this is my, if I can advance it here. So this is my Shoe and Shine. It is in a glass jar. I have 6 different oils that I'm using in it. Lemongrass, geranium, citronella, cedarwood, thyme, and eucalyptus. And I'm really excited to kind of see how it goes with this summer, and if I'm still finding it being as effective, especially with the horses now having kind of been using it, like well, obviously I don't use it in the dead of winter with their long hair on, but now that this is sort of the 3rd summer of using it with them and seeing how well that works. So anyway, I also am using these oils, Young Living oils, with my cats and my dogs. So I did a couple of little video clips that I'm going to show you that show how I use it with my cats and my dogs. Thumbs up if everybody saw the pictures. You saw the pictures okay? Yeah, awesome, awesome. Okay, so I'm going to go back to screen sharing and I will show you the videos. Hey there, everyone. I want to share with you how I'm using essential oils from Young Living with my pets. So I have mixed up in this bottle. It's a 2-ounce bottle, and I put not quite up to about where the lip here is of water, and then I add a teaspoon of fractionated coconut oil and 10 drops each of purification and cedarwood, and that will help with fleas and ticks. Lucille here used to really hate it, but she's a bit more submissive about it. I like to cradle her right under, like my finger on one side, so I'm kind of swaddling her underneath, and then I spray it about 4 spritzes right down her top line, just like you would with any sort of a topical application, and then I pet it a little bit. Kind of pet it underneath her neck. And if you wait, you'll see she'll start licking in a minute. Usually she does. Sometimes she doesn't do it till I put her outside. But Lucille sleeps with me. There she is. She's swallowing. See? So that's how quickly the oils start to get into her system. You don't have to worry about whether the cat is long-haired or short-haired because the hair acts like little funnels and it just sucks the oil right in. She's had no ticks or fleas. We've been doing this for 2 years now, and she sleeps with me at night. So believe me, I want to keep her free of fleas and ticks. I use the same oils with the dogs that I use with the cat, purification and cedarwood. Unlike the cats, you don't need to dilute it. So I just take a bottle and I put equal amounts of each oil in the bottle, so then I'm only dealing with one bottle when I go to apply it to the dogs. Dogs do metabolize things differently than cats, which is why it has to be diluted for the cats. So Landon, I'm just going to put about 3 or 4 drops in my palm. Landon, come here. He's a little not as enthusiastic about it as the cat is. The cat's a little more compliant. Come on. Come on, bud. Come on. There he is. Come on. Cooper says, I'll come. Okay, Cooper, you can go first. Come on. Okay. So you're going to do the same thing down the top line. I like to do behind the ears, down the top line, and behind the elbows. Here we go. And for the next dog, rubbing together, right down behind the ears, down the top line, behind the elbows. Good boy. There you go. So if there is a downside to using the oils, it would be that this isn't something that you do once a month, or you give them a pill once every 3 months, or you stick a collar on. This is something you need to make part of your daily, almost daily routine. I do this 3 times a week, sometimes 4, depending on the time of the season. And I keep my oils right here next to the door where I let the animals out so that I can remember. My routine is Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So then I'm able to, if I need that extra dose, I can get that on the weekend. So that's how I'm using Young Living essential oils to, in a chemical-free way, protect my cats and dogs from fleas and ticks. Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody here and just see, before we head out to the barn, I just wanted to see if anybody has any particular questions or anything they wanted to ask, or we can wait and do that at the end too.
I do remember when we used that on a horse that was allergic to fly spray. It actually helped her with a skin condition. It's my dog.
Yes, they had a mini there at Fairhaven who they could not use fly spray on at all. That's right. Thank you for reminding me of that. Yeah, she had they would put a fly sheet on her and the mask and literally cover her entire body
Yeah.
with mesh, this, the fly netting stuff. And she was miserable. She would get hot,
Mm-hmm.
and her coat just looked all kind of dull, and she didn't
Yeah.
shed out even very good,
Yeah.
and she looked fabulous. I should get a
And
picture of her to add
yes,
into
I
my little
can get
testimonial.
it for you if you want. But as a
Yeah.
testimony, she still has her hair on that ear that she had lost her hair. It has not come back. That crusty, callousy sarcoid, whatever
Yes.
that was.
She had
So
she had a sarcoid behind one of her ears that we applied an ointment to, and we did it all summer long, and it just helped with the skin condition. And then the next spring, when we went back for the second year there, I was going to get ready to start, putting that on her ear again, and lo and behold, it was gone, and there was hair growing there. So they were like, and they had tried, and sarcoids are really kind of like, they get angry when you mess with them. You've got to really follow, you need your vet involved, and you need to, it's a pretty something you just aren't gonna, sort of wing it on your own. But the vet was like, yeah, go ahead, you might as well try it, give it a try, no problem. And we did, and it worked very, very well for her. So again, thank you for that testimonial, Dale. That's was a good one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out into the barn. I'm going to actually jump on. I'm going to mute us, and then I'm going to actually jump on my phone so we can go out to the barn, and then I can show you the different horses and talk about the different oils that I'm using out there with the horses as well. Before I go, I do want to show that this is a desk reference for essential oils written by a holistic veterinarian. I will say that none of the stuff that I do should ever take the place of consulting with your vet. I will openly admit that my vet isn't real keen on the whole essential oil stuff, but she also knows that I'm not completely, like, I'm not trying to become my own vet, and I'm not disregarding the things that she's saying. And she's aware of what I am doing. So even though it's not in her wheelhouse of knowledge, so she's not going to say, oh yeah, that's great, because it's not something that she's has any training in. But she knows that I'm being responsible. I'm using a resource guide. I'm not just, completely winging it. So that's an important thing to note too. And I will also add that any of the claims that I make are my personal experiences. So I'm not speaking on behalf of Young Living to say, use this and your animal will never get a tick on it again. Because again, a lot of it does depend upon you being very fastidious about remembering to apply and how often you apply. And because I think all animals, just like people, respond differently, what works for one may not necessarily work for someone else. So I did want to mention those couple of things as well. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute myself in here, and you're just going to have a lovely scene of the miserable weather we have outside right now. And then I'm going to go out to the barn and log myself in from out there. I'm going to leave you guys unmuted because I'm not sure from my phone if I can unmute you. If you know how to unmute and unmute yourself, then that's fine. There's a little button up in the corner of your picture, so it's pretty easy. So I'm going to mute myself, and then we'll head out to the barn. Here I am. Can you guys see me? I see Alyssa. Yep. All right, is everybody able to see me? Dale, can you see me?
We can see you.
Okay, awesome. All right, I'm gonna switch my camera around. Oh, what a miserable day.
Yes, my horses were shivering this morning. Had to
Oh,
put their blankets on. Even Sunshine, I haven't blanketed her in years.
yes, I left everybody in partly because I knew that I was going to be coming out here, but also I just got wet all over my screen. But also because I knew that I wanted to do this class. So we'll get the light on. Yes, Mr. Baxter. Yes. So this is Baxter. He's the one I showed the picture of with a shoe and shine. Baxter is a Morgan Draft Cross. Yes. And I'm going to hand the phone here to my videographer person. And I'm going to show you here in my cabinet. You can come around this way, Bert, so people can see. I have, as you can see, my essential oils. I also use other products. So some of the things I do use for the horses, Digize, I use for stomach, any sort of upset there or digestive issues. Copaiba and peppermint are also helpful for that. I actually, Howard decided to, you seem kind of close. Can you see me? Okay, that's, okay. The peppermint and the copaiba really helped Howard actually better than the Digize did. So again, I had looked at my reference guide, looked things up to see what would be a recommendation that I could use, and I used those. Purification is actually really good if you get like a sting. We had a horse that got like a really bad, she got stung, I think, by a wasp, and then it got all scabby and kind of almost like infected looking. And we used the purification on that with a little bit of ointment, and it cleared right up. And then for Baxter, we used basil. He had an allergic reaction to some hay and was having some respiratory problems. He also was getting this syrup we were giving to him, and he was getting dryness. But we were finding he was really fine right up. He was like very, very wound up. So yes, you were, weren't you, Baxter? So we looked up in the guide and decided to try basil. That actually, you could see his sides stopped that, you know, that effort that you see with breathing. So it was a pretty dramatic change for him. We also have calming oils you can use to just kind of calm horses. Lavender and Peace and Calming are ones that I use quite often. And I'm actually going to have Gloria help with a little demonstration here. And I'm going to show you how sometimes, especially with oils that might be for calming purposes, it's kind of nice to let the horse decide what one they want, what one they like. So we're gonna let Baxter, actually, do you want to just hold these up to him? Well, I think you can do over the wall. I don't think he needs the halter. And you just sort of hold, yeah, he's looking for food. But just put one in each hand and kind of let him smell, and we're just gonna kind of see what he does. He's kind of licking and chewing. He's wanting food too. Can they see it? Okay. Yeah, he's after the food. Come on, Baxter. Come on. And then try the lavender. And what you can do is kind of hold them one in each hand, and when they're not distracted and thinking that they want food, like Mr. Food Man here, They'll kind of go back and forth between the two. And he's looking at me thinking, what's the food? And usually they'll gravitate toward one or the other. But that's how I would sort of offer them oil. Actually, I would have said more. I have a couple of oils that I use with Callie. This is Callie. She's a registered Appaloosa. And she says, what are you going to do to me? And when I took Callie to camp, she was having a terrible, terrible time adjusting. And she was in heat, and she was all wound up all the time, and not at all acting like her usual calm self. So the fluorescence, when I first offered it to her, she literally buried her nostril on the bottle. And she probably isn't needing it as much now, so that's why she's kind of, and this is the kind of cool thing with horses is, if they need something, they'll kind of gravitate toward it, and if they're not really needing it, then they won't.
What is the name of that one?
This sclerescence. And the reason I picked this one was, like, I was trying calming oils. I tried lavender, I tried peace and calming, and she was just like acting like a crazy woman. So I'm thinking, well, she's a mare, she's in heat, it's for my hormones. Maybe it would help her. So I had a little roll-on of it in my, that I always carry with me for myself personally to use. So I thought, well, maybe she'd like my oil. And I offered it to her, and she literally buried her nose on the thing. I put 4 drops on her pole, and in like 10 minutes, she stopped. She was like herself. And everybody was like, whoa. That was pretty miraculous.
Oh, you're frozen.
Yes, I know. I'm telling stories about you. Yes. And then the other one, I had her scanned. So you can get a biometric scan. And this is, again, our upline. We'll offer these for people who are members and enroll in Young Living. And she, so she did a scan of Callie's tail. And one of the oils she said she needed is called Indoflex. And when I applied, she was all relaxed. She was, you know, fine, super chill. And I applied the Indoflex, and she had this like really almost immediate response to it. She started tossing her head and twitching her tail and acting really, and I'm thinking, oh my word, you know, what have I done, you know? But sometimes what happens is when they're really out of balance in their system, and you give them something that starts shifting things, it can almost just make it seem like it's almost making it worse. So what I did, I gave her about a minute, and she was switching her tail, and she seemed really agitated. So I took some lavender, and I just went right down her top line with the lavender, right, you know, where I had applied the Inflex. And she just immediately, it was almost like as my hand went down her top line, her head just dropped. And I had like 2 girls that I was showing, doing a live class and teaching them how to use oils. And they were like, their jaws were like hitting the floor. They couldn't believe the reaction she had. But to me, that, you know, again, it's something that's very powerful. It's not something you want to take lightly. You want to, you know, use a resource guide. You want to consult with your vet. And, you know, make sure that you're not doing something that's going to be harmful. So these have been the oils that she has used, her Indoflex. And now I just kind of rub it on her flanks. I don't do it on her top line. I checked back with my upline about that, and she said, try just rubbing it on her flanks instead of doing her top line. So that's what I do with that. All right, so back over to our little cupboard here. Howard, I have used Copaiba, frankincense, and cypress on his leg for a irritation that was causing swelling. And it was, I had him on an antibiotic, but I was looking for something to help as a topical. So I was massaging in the Copaiba, the frankincense, the cypress, and also lavender. I was using lavender for that as well. And it really helped that. swelling to go down, something that might typically take maybe a week or more to resolve, was actually resolved. So, no problem.
You're gone.
All right. Am I here now?
Yes.
Howard, yeah, he did have a recurrence of the problem, and that time I saw it in time enough to just start using topical right away, and I didn't have to give him the antibiotic. I was watching, like it's not like I wouldn't have given him the antibiotic. If I needed to, I would have given him the antibiotic, but I think I caught it quick enough that that topical was able to just deal with it at a local level, and I didn't have to deal with it giving him the antibiotic. Let's see, I want to make sure I'm looking at my list here. The other thing I do for him, I made the ointment that I mentioned that we used on Moxie's ear for her growth that she had there. Also, Howard came with a growth that had the vet remove. They are notorious for returning, coming back. So I used this on the site just to help it from coming back. It was right on where the bit was, and when I bought him, it was all bloody and bleeding, and it was just really sore. So anyway, tea tree I use it has antifungal properties. So like if I might put some in the water, like if I thought a horse had any sort of a skin fungal issue, I might use it on the hooves if I was worried about a fungal issue there. And also orally, you can get Digize, the peppermint, the copaiba. Those are all things, if they have stomach upset, that I would give them orally. I pull up, you want to do about 10 drops at a time. So I pull up about 3 or 4, up to the 0.3 or 0.4 in one of these little syringes. And then I just squirt it right in their lip, in their bottom lip. And when you're giving something orally, you want to give it and then wait 10 minutes, give another dose, and then wait 10 minutes and give another dose. And then you just kind of want to watch. Basically, more isn't necessarily going to be effective. If it's going to work, it should work by the time you've done that 3rd dose. If it isn't working, like the other night I did that with Digize with Howard, and he wasn't getting worse. His respirations had slowed down. He was looking, but he still wasn't 100%. So that's when I went to the peppermint and the copaiba and came back up and checked him in a half an hour, and he was like himself. So for him at that time, that was just what he needed, and that was what helped his gassy stomach. So the other thing that I give Howard orally is where? Okay, I don't know if I can do it from my phone. I'm trying, that's someone in the waiting room I'm trying to let in, but I don't know if I can do it from here on my phone. I think I have to do it from my computer inside. So I'll just do this real quickly. Okay. So I use 2 oils, Steve's and Exodus. And these were oils that were in my resource guide. I put 3 or 4 drops of them in. See, he's got his self down here. So I just put them in that. I'd put 3 to 4 drops of each oil, and he gets that orally. He is getting it right now. 3 days of the oils and 4 days without the oils. And this I give to him as a recommendation for a neurological issue, a very mild neurological issue that he has. So, okay. Anybody want to see anything else out here in the barn before I head back inside? we want to see here. Caps are right here. Bart, you want to put these caps on and put these oils back in the case. I'm going to head back inside so I can let my other person in the room. Bye, guys. Thank you, Baxter. Thank you, Callie. Mr. Howard, he said you didn't even introduce me, Mr. High Maintenance Howard. He says, and yes, and I'm a thoroughbred and I want my blanket on. He hates having his door closed. He really likes having his door open. Yeah, you're gonna say hello? All right, we'll head back into the house here. Gloria, you can give everyone a flake of hay if you'd like. Thank you. Oh, what a crazy day. All right. Back in my room. And I'm going to disconnect my phone and join you on. All right. So, does anyone have any questions or anything else you can think of, Dale, that you want to add? You're muted, Dale.
Oh, I wasn't sure if
Yeah, any
someone else was
questions
gonna
or?
talk then. Well, I know that we've used the oils on scratches. I think you touched base on that a little bit with Howard.
Yeah, fungal type stuff.
fungal.
Yeah.
And which the defractionated coconut oil also helps with that as well.
Yeah.
If anyone didn't know that, like fungal bacterial. So adding that in, if you're gonna make a mixture of something bigger, like the fly spray or a topical. So, but I've used the oils recently because I had a horse injure her fetlock, and we weren't sure if it was swelling from a cut because sometimes it's hard to see, what they've done. And I've used the purification, and that seemed to help a lot.
Yeah, so there's a number of different ways that you can use it and a number of different ways of applying it. Hey, Shirley. Sorry about that. I couldn't figure out how to add you when I was on my phone because I took my phone out to the barn. So I was actually a participant, not the host, because I was on my phone. But yes, and just to let you know, we are recording. I need to let everybody know that. Anyway, we've talked about how we're using the oils with the dogs, the cats. We've gone out in the barn and talked about how we use them with the horses. And I know, Shirley, you've also been using them with your dog. Do you want to share a little bit about what you do with your dog? Hold on. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, so we live in Florida and there's a real flea and tick problem, but I'm super sensitive to chemicals. And so we really didn't want to use drops on our dog and, have me touching it all the time. And we were a little hesitant to use oral flea and tick medicine too, because it seems like there's a little bit of a concern that it might cause other problems with dogs. So we've been using cedarwood and purification drops in either coconut oil or grapeseed oil, and we just pet that on his back every 2 to 3 days. And the only time that we have seen a problem was when we missed too many days. And other than that, he has not. In the vet, when we took him to the vet for his checkup, the vet asked us what we were using, and he said, "Oh, I don't know if that'll work in Florida. You know, we have a really bad flea problem here." But we have not had fleas for him. He did have a tick incident, but it was, like I said, when we were negligent to, you know, not apply as often as we should have. And it's been great. Right now, he's having an allergic reaction to some bee stings that he got, and we've been using oils to treat some of that as well, and supplementing him to help him regroup after his bee incident. It's been quite a journey, but yeah, I love using oils on him because I feel like we're helping his health as well as taking care of the, you know, the flea and tick problems.
Does anyone have any questions? Anything you'd like to ask about? I can go ahead and kind of conclude the class if people don't want to be recorded asking questions. It's definitely something where, you know, it multi-purpose. Oils can do more than one thing. You know, whether it's you're taking it for your personal health or using it for your animals. I love Thieves is a product that's really amazing. It's antifungal properties and has a lot of other properties to it, so you can use it for a variety of different things. I joke about the fact Thieves, they make products that you use to brush your teeth, scrub your toilet, clean your kitchen counters. You know, what product can you say that you can do all those things with? So, and it is right now. I'm using Thieves like it's like a verb in our house. We talk about thieving. We're thieving all the time because we're trying to keep. What I like about it is not only are we, like Shirley was saying, not only are we addressing like a problem, whether it's a germ problem or a insect problem or a fungus problem, but the oils not only just address a problem, they support the body's system to address the problem. So you're really, to me, like when you think about supporting your immune system, rather than just killing a germ or killing something, we want to actually support our systems in being able to do the job that they're intended to do and protect themselves. So that's one of the reasons that I really like using essential oil. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then